It's going to be an interesting topic, though. Quite interesting. Looking forward to have fun, share. Can I say some shout out on the guys on the chats? Ibrahim, I've seen you've been super active. Thank you for being here, and we're about getting started. We're good. How are you? All is good. Destiny, how are you? What's happening? What's happening? Welcome to this session. It's gonna be amazing. Just brace for it. Gonna get deeper into the trading psychology. Why traders break rules.
Yeah,
Back to you, John.
psychological like influences in trading, I think, is something that is so underrated. No one really thinks about that, obviously, because we can talk about like the technical side of trading, we can talk about strategies, risk management, all that kind of good stuff. But to hear somebody talk about their own psychological experience, I think is quite rare. You know, although we've been working together for a little bit, we probably haven't talked to each other about our own trading psychology
No,
that we've done.
we haven't. Funny
So
thing, we haven't.
exactly. So this
Yeah.
is going to be almost like an education for us too, right? So let's get straight into it. Let's get
Yeah,
straight into it
gonna know,
because
I'm gonna get to know some of your struggles.
yeah, yeah. Don't worry, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. So first part we want to talk about is the execution gap. Right. Now, what I mean by execution gap, a lot of people don't necessarily think that they can solve their trading psychology by using sort of execution rules or strategies or things like that. Very much like trading with a strategy, you know, your entry, exit, take profit, stop loss, all that kind of good stuff. But you can also implement some rules into this as well to try and help your trading psychology. But before we get into that, we need to discuss kind of like or what I've put down as the four major psychology things that can happen to traders, right? So the four core
Yeah.
reasons that I think traders break rules, first of all, greed, right? Greed has got to be one of the single most biggest things. How many times have you been in a trade and wanted more out of it, Nick?
Wow.
Even today,
All
right?
right. So
You're
if we talk
trading
about
gold.
something
You're
like
trading gold. You want
yeah,
more.
yeah. Just today, I found myself looking at the market like wanting more. It's like you just get into the market and something just speaks to you, and you're like, you know what? If I've just you see, the one of the mistake that I made when I started trading is the first time I think I made a couple of like $60 or something, and I was like, okay, that took me like 10 minutes, and I
Mhm.
started calculating like, you know what, a day has 24 hours, so if in every 10 minutes I can make $60,
I see where this is
you
going.
know, I'm gonna be a millionaire by the end of the month, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so I started pushing myself. I just wanted to keep on making it after every 10 minutes I make $60. Every 10 minutes I make $60. It was crazy because I ended up blowing that account, and it just greed, just wanting to get more and more and more and more. And then you're going in without a strategy. Actually, you're just jumping into it, and I don't know. Somehow you just feel like pressing buy when you see a green candle, red when you see a sell when you see a red candle, and you don't even know what you're doing. You're just in for the money, you know.
100%. When I first started trading, and I know you obviously tried NFP quite a lot as well, and you have a live NFP session every month.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that I did when I first started trading was trade NFP, right? And
Yeah.
I remember I was trying to watch like Bloomberg and stuff to get up to date with what was going to happen. And obviously, I
Yeah.
didn't know anything about trading really at that point. And all week, Bloomberg was saying this is going to be the best jobs number in 10 years. Like, it was like they were hyping it up so much. And I was like, right, this sounds like an opportunity. That smells to me like I can make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
So I opened up dollar yen about 15 minutes before the decision. And I
Yeah.
think you know where I'm going with this. I put a buy entry above the hourly candle, a sell entry below the candle low, and I was like, I'm going to make loads of money today. And what happened
Yeah.
was, price wicked into my buy order, went
Uh-huh.
straight to my sell order, wicked back up, took me out of the first one, and then dropped massively because it turned out to be the worst job numbers in history. And basically, I lost loads of money and didn't gain anything. So I was just like, okay, I don't think trading works like I think it works. So, and that was probably my
Yeah.
biggest experience with greed, was just like wanting to have that satisfaction of making a lot of money very quickly. And you're right, when you see people making lots of money very quickly, it can be very difficult for you to like, why you can't ask yourself that question, why doesn't that happen for me, right? Why can't I do that? And they're very rare
Yeah.
instances that people make
I can.
money quickly,
Yeah.
you know. So
And I think also there's something about how people usually put it. Like, see, people out there will tell you like, you can, I don't know, you can make like $10,000 in a day, or you can make this. They keep on pushing it in a way that it looks like it's a get rich quick kind of thing. It looks like you're just gonna get in and the next day you're driving a Ferrari. You know, it looks,
was
it looks so
that
promising when you
extremes?
start. Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
yeah.
But yeah, so we've both experienced that greed situation. We've both experienced in wanting that,
Mhm.
instant gratification from a positive trade, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that why traders lose money. I mean, Frick here has also said greed and revenge has costed me also a fortune. And revenge is
Oh
another
yeah.
one of those core rules. We put it as down as number 3. And
Yeah.
revenge is, again, it could have easily been number 2 in my list, to be honest, revenge, because revenge trading is probably one of the worst things that you can try and do, because by the time you're revenge trading, you've already lost already. You're already down.
Yeah.
So you're trying to like chase the market, and
You want to recover. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're trying to recover, and it's difficult to do. Have you had some experience? What is your worst revenge trading moment, Nick? Oh, that's what I want to know. I want to know when Nick
Yeah.
was so frustrated he was just clicking buttons.
You know what I used to do actually? I got into a trade. Now that I've asked, I have just remembered. I took a trade. I think it was trading pound USD, trading pound
Yeah.
USD, and I took a trade, and the trade went negative, hit my stop loss. I decided, you know what, I'm gonna get into the opposite side. Since the sell side has actually made me lose, then let me get in the buy side. I mean, what's the best way is just to follow to go the opposite side, because one side is losing, so the market has to be going the opposite side. So I took another order on that side, took another order on that side, hit stop loss again, took another one, hit stop, and I kept chasing and chasing. I was not looking at the equity.
No.
I was super concentrating I was just looking at the balance. I'm like, oh yeah, my balance is still there. But the equity was actually going lower and lower and lower and lower. And all of a sudden, my account started giving me some hazards, some red hazards over there.
That's what we need. We need like a
Yeah.
traffic light system for when like you're about to press that button again and it goes. I mean, I've done it
Yeah,
loads
I
of
asked you,
times.
are you sure? Are you sure? Are you
Yeah,
sure you want to
yeah.
take
You
that
sure you
trade?
want to do this? Yeah. They should add that into
Yeah.
the trading platform, shouldn't they? Are you sure you want
That
to
would
trade
be really
this?
good, actually. The think
There
twice
you go. That's a
button.
great idea. We'll write that one down. Write that one down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like fully like even to the point where, let's say I was like buying pound or something or euro or gold or whatever, and then price just keeps going against you, and then you flip your position. You're like, I'm obviously wrong. I'm going to flip
Yeah.
my position, and then
Yeah.
it goes the opposite way anyway. So you're just like, well, that's when you're at the end of your bed at night, crying yourself to sleep, thinking, am I ever going to be good at this? You know, am I ever going to get to a point where this is gonna change? And I'm going to say this, guys. We are like obviously talking through our own experiences, but if you have your own experiences, chat, put them in the chat. We'd love to hear about your experiences too. We are also here to show you that we're on the other side of it, so you can get through it. And we hope to be those guides for you as we go on through Anzo Capital. Yeah, thought I was alone. You will make it.
Thought he was alone, but we'll make it too. Yeah.
Yeah. It just takes a lot of determination. It takes a lot of determination. But a lot of that with revenge as well could be FOMO, fear of missing out, right?
Yeah.
Big day today in the markets. We've had gold pumping super like aggressively today. You know, we've had the dollar basically just falling off a shelf. These are the types of days where traders are going to FOMO the most, especially if they're not in it. And I was one of those people that wasn't in it today, right? I talked about it. I set it all up for myself. Did I take the trade? No. Right. So I was
sitting there.
I didn't take it. I was sitting there all afternoon. Let me just show you, actually. I'm going to bring it up just to show you guys what I did instead, because this is, I would say, this is a good opportunity to show a little bit of patience. And we might talk about this a little bit later, but, you know, for me, today was one of those like really interesting days in the market where it could have really gone either way. So let me just remove this for a second. Let me just show you. This is my Anzo Capital live account. This was obviously today. This is euro dollar, right? And I was looking for this break and retest of the $1,600 area. I was like, this to me is a good opportunity to be long, and I hesitated. I waited for this perfect sort of setup to happen, and then some news hit, right? The news hit, market rallied. I could have easily tried to FOMO this move, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair, depending on how you trade and what time frame you trade, you could try and grab a little bit of it. But the way I trade, it's not necessarily how I do things. So I was waiting for the pullback. You can see on this minute chart here, you know, I was waiting for like a decent pullback to happen, and it just wasn't coming, right? The market just kept going. But I eventually waited. I was patient. I saw price come up into a really strong resistance level. So I shorted, stopped above the highs, and ended up with a decent trade for the day. Now, it wasn't with the overall big move that happened, but still, it came through for me, right? But I had to have that patience in order to wait for the market to kind of get to another area of high probability that we could see a turnaround and then take that trade. So fortunately for me, I have got over that FOMO stage of trading. But, you know, old Jono, Jono of 9 years ago, that would have been my wheelhouse. I would have been trying to jump on that move right there, trying to chase it. I would have had loads of orders on trying to get onto that. But older Jono is very much more chill.
Overtrading. John says overtrading is my enemy of progress.
I love that. I love that.
You know, overtrading also comes from FOMO. You know, you don't want to miss a move in the market. Sometimes, I don't know, something just gets into you, and you're like, you find yourself chasing the market, and you're not supposed to chase the market, but you're seeing like when a move moves, you start asking yourself, you know what, if I was in that move, I would have gotten this amount, so I'm not going to miss another move. And you keep on chasing the market, and then all of a sudden you realize that the more you chase it, the more it's running away from you, you know, the more it's taking from you. So at some point, you just want to do your setup, do your analysis well, set your areas, your parameters, then wait for the market to come to you. Don't chase it. That's why I always tell people that you're going to need to, don't chase the market, wait for the market to come to you where you are. It's much easier that way instead of chasing it. Yeah.
Exactly. And actually, Frick has made a good point here. They said sometimes you can wait for a setup for a day and get into a position because you're tired of waiting. Yeah. That's the next point that I've put down. Impatience and boredom, right? Do you know how bored I was today watching that euro dollar just take off?
And then you missed it actually. So that's the
Yeah,
problem. That's even
yeah.
the worst bit is that you didn't even take it.
And well, the funny thing was as well, I was like, you know what, I might go out, get a coffee, go just have a walk, but I was like, no, I think there's a trade here still. I gotta wait. But do you know how boring that wait was? Unbelievably boring, right? You
Yeah,
know, if I was impatient, I
what?
probably would have jumped on the long, right? And
Yeah,
might have not had a successful trade, even though price has just continued to rise still.
it's just
Uh,
rising, just going up and up and
yeah,
up. You
yeah,
know?
just one of them days. But these days are quite rare, right?
Yeah,
Versus like,
quite
you
rare.
know, exactly. So impatience is definitely another one where you can lose it for me. And you know what? I think impatient comes from, I don't know whether you had the same experience as me, but I actually like quit work to start trading when I
Yeah,
didn't even know anything about trading, right? So I like jumped in with 2 feet first.
yeah.
Um, and I felt like if I wasn't trading, I wasn't working.
Hmm.
I had that feeling of, well, I need to do something. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and that was a big part of what I needed to get over. And it's actually a big part that led me to becoming an analyst as well, was
Mm.
because I wanted to fill my time with something productive rather than just watching a chart, trying to trade every move that happened, because I never had much success with doing that. Never had much success doing that. But I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, yeah. Impatience actually comes in. Sometimes you can find yourself like you're so much overconfidence on what you want on the market. It's what I usually call the prophet in trading. You're you're overconfident with yourself, and you're telling every move before it happens. You're like, I know gold is gonna go up, I know gold is gonna go down. So that makes you be a bit impatient because you're like, you know what? And also now add to it FOMO, that you don't want to miss that move that you're actually foretelling. So you get yourself into the market before the market actually, the setup actualize itself. See, when you trade like myself, I usually do just observe the market structure. And there's levels that I'm looking at, maybe levels of resistance, level of support. I'm looking for breakout trades at that point. So I have to wait until that candle, if it's breaking a resistance, closes. Even if it's a 4 hour candle, I'm gonna have to wait for the whole 4 hours for that candle to close and give me a confirmation that I need to enter for this buy.
Yeah.
So sometimes the weight can really the weight and the bottom bit can really get good the toll of you, and you end up taking the trades too early. Or maybe you just tell yourself, you know what? Yes, I know I'm waiting for the 4 hours candle, but can I go down to 15 minutes and see? When you go to a lower time frame, and
Yeah.
you convince yourself that okay, 15 minutes already broken, so let's go.
Yeah.
You end up taking the trade, and then the trade end up in 4 hours. It ends up being rejected. It doesn't go. And
And
then
that's the
when you
worst as
lose,
well.
that's when you start asking. When you lose is when you start asking yourself, "What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Why did
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get into this?" I mean,
Oh,
I have rules.
100%.
Why did I break my rules?
And that's the thing we're talking about today, right? And
Yeah.
Julius, I'm here. I'm there at the impatient and chasing every move. Look, we've been there, man. Like we have, really have. And you know, one of the things is a lack
Mm.
of education, right? I've put that second in this list, but it probably could have come like later down. And it's not like to say a lack of education is like, oh, people aren't smart enough to understand this. It's just a lack of education, a lack of awareness, that you could be doing these things as well. Because when you're in the heat of the moment and you're trying to trade every little moment, you're not necessarily thinking about, oh, my structure, my this, my that. You might just be just so focused on the trade that you're not really thinking about what you should be doing. So, when we talk about lack of education, hopefully that's what we're here for. That's what me and Nick are here for. We're going to give you the guide today on how you can overcome these things. We're leading on our own experiences, right? So I don't know about Nick, but for me, it took a while to get over this. All right, it took a while to get over these emotional things, and to be honest, some of them are still there, right? But I just know how to manage them better now, right?
Yeah,
Today,
yeah,
prime example, I could have easily tried to chase that move. I was itching. I was really itching to chase it, and I didn't, right? Because I know from experience now that that's not a good thing to do, right? Now, and
yeah,
that's the one thing that unfortunately me and Nick can never teach you. We can never teach you your own
yeah,
experiences in the market,
yeah,
right? We can only
yeah.
teach you what our experiences have been. And hopefully you can try and learn from our experiences, not to try and make those mistakes yourself. But honestly, you're going to make those mistakes, right? You're not going to not
Yeah,
make them.
the moment that the temptation is gonna be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
the
So let's
temptation
move
will
on.
always
Let's
be there.
move on. I did want to do a deep dive into greed and sort of the focus around that and the expectation versus the sort of reality of that. But we've kind of already covered a few of these little things that we were going to talk about within this. But,
Yeah,
it's just, again, trying to think about, if you're opening a trade using Flug full leverage, that's not a good idea, right?
yeah,
That you shouldn't be doing that. You should be using small risk and, but I understand. I understand why you're doing that, because you want to try and make the money, right? I mean, I saw a
yeah,
thing today, Nick, and I actually thought that it would be fun to do like a demo version of this just to see what it does. But there was a
yeah,
guy on Twitter who
yeah.
turned 5,000 US dollars into a million in 11
Oh,
trades. And he basically full leveraged every trade. He had to win 11 trades in a row to get to that stage. And I was like, I don't know if I could do that.
no. In your experience, is that what we call luck?
Yes. that's why.
Yeah,
That's why.
I think so. I thought so too. So I'm like, yo, 11 trades, you have to hit all of them, take profit, and over leverage all of them. You
All of
know,
them. Yeah. Yeah. You got to over
so
leverage every. You
that
got to full leverage
means
every single
if
one.
just two or three of those, yeah,
Yeah.
if
100%.
just two or three of those went negative, then boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You stuffed.
In the morning, I was doing this. I did this market brief in the morning, and the good thing, how I got to get the buy on gold today is because I was looking for buys above the same area, the 43.68 area. I was looking for buys over there, so I was already in the market before the move happened. So I got
Nice.
into the market, and I put my phone away and I closed my laptop, and I saw a notification like your order has already hit take profit. I'm like, you mean this order? Oh, so I had to go back quickly and check it out. Then I saw this move and I was like, yo, what really happened on this? So I was saying in the morning, I was saying that, trading, most of people usually say that trading is like gambling.
Yes.
And I think, in my perspective, and I'd like to hear your perspective as well, John. In my perspective, I would say that trading is not gambling, but you can make it gambling.
Yes.
You can actually make it gambling.
Yes.
Yeah, and I give an example of where it's when you try to use something that is not meant to do a thing, but end up still making it do that thing that you want it to be done. Like, for example, if you have a cup and you wanna the cup, the cup is for drinking tea or whatever, anything that you want to drink, but something to drink. But you can still put in some rice in the cup and eat from it. It still serves the purpose, but it's not the original. That
Use.
is not what it's meant to do. So
Yeah.
trading is not meant for you to gamble, but you can
No.
make it gamble on your own way. You can actually just force yourself to pick in buys and sells, just chasing the market everywhere, wherever the market is going, and of course you're gonna be gambling. So that's where you get luck, and sometimes the luck is not on your side, and you ended up just losing your whole investment fund, the whole lifetime investment that you had put over there. So yeah,
It's a really good point you make, to be fair, because you know it's like you said, it can be made into something that it's not.
Mm,
And because it's so easy to access, a
mm,
lot of people have this presumption that it's easy. Um,
yeah,
but you've got hedge funds out there, you've got people trading millions every single day and they're doing it because they know it makes money, but they're doing it as well because it's not gambling. It is measured. It is something that we can tangibly see can happen on a day to day. But like you
yeah,
said, many people come into it with no experience, try and attack the market, go at the market, and you can't do that. Unfortunately, the market is not to be attacked. You have to let the market come to you, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. See, yeah. I was actually looking at the comments.
Yeah, yeah.
They made 3,000 from 1,000 a day in a contest, and I thought I was a genius. Oh, in the next contest, I blew the whole 1,000 in 4 hours.
That is crazy work. I rate the making 3,000 from 1,000 in a day in a contest. I really rate that. But again, to do that, you must have gone
You,
for it. You must have gone
yeah.
for it.
But what do you think? What do you think is the place of fear and greed? Because I think sometimes, if you're too if you have a lot of fear, you will end up missing very good opportunities.
Yeah.
So you also need to have the balance, yeah. So yes, too much fear, you'll miss a lot of opportunity. Too much greed, you will end up over trading and
Yeah.
potentially risking your account or over leveraging your account. So at what point do you ride? I mean, there has to be just you have to know how to strike a balance between not having too much fear, still being in a moderate place whereby you can manage your account well, probably plan out your trades, have a checklist that you're looking at or something like that, or avoid taking too many trades at the same time, and also maybe just set up some levels that you need to hit in a day, probably a daily target or a daily risk or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, for me, it was about lowering my risk first,
Yeah.
to a point where it was like comfortable for me to lose. So,
Mm.
even if I was so I used to day trade quite a lot before I went into more of like a swing trading thing. Obviously, today I've done a bit more day trading, but
Yeah.
I'm usually more of a swing trader. But as a day trader, I think what was apparent to me is that you can lose like two or three trades within minutes before seeing the next trade come around, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going like 1 to 2% a trade and losing three in a row before you get your fourth, it can be very psychologically damaging to you in
A
terms of
lot.
you might not want to take that trade because you've already lost three in a row. So
Yeah.
I think, in that situation, I learned that if I'm day trading, I use a specific risk, right? If I'm swing trading, I use a different style of risk. Um,
Mm.
if the market is volatile, should I be trading in that environment? There are lots of different things that we can do now to try and support ourselves in that situation. But yeah, I learned very quickly that if I'm going to be taking like a day trader scalper's probably taking what, like maybe 3 to 6, 7, 8 trades a day, right? It could be anything. Well, it could be anything to 10 trades, right? If they're trying to scalp the
Yeah.
market. So a lot of people tend to over risk in those situations and
Yeah.
then under risk when it comes to like higher time frame stuff. It's really weird from the data that I see anyway. But yeah, for me, it's about lowering that sort of risk, really. And I've put a few things here, right? So we were talking about the educational gap earlier, and this kind of leads us on to trying to like emotionally hijack ourselves, right? So instead of like us, caving and doing the same thing over and over again, waiting for different results, we can try and help ourselves, right? So one of the things I put here is a lack of structural clarity. And what I mean by that is a lot of people trade without actually knowing how the market it works in a structural point of view, from a technical analysis point of view. And that's probably the easiest thing that you can try and pick up is the technical analysis side of trading, because you've got charts available to you for free. You can download MetaTrader, MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5. You can go through those platforms. You can study gold, all our other markets that are available on Anzo Capital. And you can also do that for free with a demo account. So you don't have to spend any capital to do this and to learn technical analysis. But I think it's a really good way to start is by at least understanding and knowing how market conditions are and where those low quality and high quality setups can come from. I know you, Nick, touched upon it earlier with the, like looking at your 4-hour chart, 15-minute setup or whatever. Learning market structure, I think, is a good thing to start with. Would you agree with that, or would you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's the best. Is the best way you could use your technical. I know there's a lot of strategies that are there. There's people that are doing the SMCs, the ICTs. There's a lot of there are people that use indicators and all that stuff. But I think all of them, you end up looking at the structure first so that you can understand. Is it a bullish structure? Is it a bearish structure? Because that's one of the basic things that you need to know is the market going up or down, first of all, before you even decide to jump into the market. So I usually give this analogy that if you go against the market, it's like having a tractor and you having a motorbike and you're trying to just ram into each other. I mean, the market is being driven by it's a lot of funds in the market pumped into the market at that point. Talking about the hedge funds, talking about the banks and all that stuff. They're putting a lot of money in the market. And if they're pushing the market up, the worst thing you could do is to go against it. You're going to find yourself in a very bad scenario. You're going to be totaled up. Yeah. But again, that's why you need to learn how to observe the structure. Just get the structure for clarity, because it gives you the best clarity for you to know, am I approaching the market on a buyer's perspective or a sales perspective? And if you're taking maybe, I don't know, maybe this could sound a bit different when it comes to maybe swing trading or day trading or even scalping. It could sound a bit different for most of the people, because again, if you're in for the quick trades, you're not really observant of any of that. You're just like, I'm gonna be in and out, less than 10 minutes and out. So you may probably wouldn't see the need for observing the structure. But in the long run, trust me, it's gonna be really good, because even if you're taking quick trades and you're going against the markets, at some point you're gonna lose. At some point, you're gonna get beaten at some point. So yeah, the structure is everything for me. I mean, I gotta have to first of all see. It's one of the checklists that I have in my checklist that I tick. I see the structure, I understand it, and yes, let's go for it.
Awesome, perfect. And we'll touch upon that in a little bit. Also, I've put a few other things down here. I think one of them, which is big, that I don't see a lot of people actually talking about, but it's probably more prominent these days, is the social media FOMO, right?
Yeah.
There is so much trading content on social media. It is actually scary. And how much of it is relevant and how much of it is actually good, it's hard to weave through all the noise, really, to be honest. So for me, like, one of the big things that I think really impacts an emotional side of a trader is social media, looking at what others are doing, comparing themselves to others. I remember at one point, I actually did this. I deleted my social media for like 6 months. I then came back, and instead I just basically blocked every trading content person ever, really, that kept popping up on my feed, because there'd be one that, like, I'd have things like contradicting my trade, or like I'd be in a trade and I'd see this guy and he'd be like, oh, just bought euro dollar or whatever. I'd be like, should I have done that? Like, should I have done that instead of doing my own trade or whatever? Or like even seeing, these traders like posting their big wins and stuff. What we don't see is the losses, right? We don't see
Yeah.
how they've got to that point. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things these days is social media has created
Yeah.
this storm of like wanting more, needing more.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I know over where I am, there's so much like ICT stuff,
Yeah.
SMC stuff like you've just talked about.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like you can get lost in all this stuff. There's a guy that I know that I went to school with, and he reached out to me a few months back and met up with him for a coffee, and he was like, I've been trading for 3 years, still can't get it down. And I was like, oh, what are you trading? And he said, oh, SMC, right? And I was like, okay, talk me through how you analyze markets and things like that. And he was like, and his analysis was fine. Like it was really fine. What he really couldn't get over was the fact that he was seeing other people make it work and he wasn't.
Yeah.
So he was like, "What? Why can't I do it? Why can't I do this?"
Mm,
And I said, a lot of it's in your head. You can do it.
yeah.
You're just
Yeah.
not giving yourself the best opportunity to do it.
Mm,
But
true.
it's huge. It's huge. Anyone in the if anyone in the chat has experienced that, let us know. Yeah, George saying interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting dialogue. Yeah, well, we're here for you guys. Like, we want to let you understand that you're not alone in this trading game. It's very, very difficult. Very difficult.
Yeah. It's not as easy as it sounds outside there. It's not as easy as that.
Yeah. So let's move on to some practical solutions. I know, Nick, you were talking about a checklist. So I'm interested to
Yeah.
hear about your sort of like checklist and what you do. But let's talk a little bit about trying to reframe some of these market realities first. So, trying to reframe greed and the market reality. So, one thing you can do
Mm,
is accept the loss as a business expense. So, I, what I try and do is I actually created a sort of thing where it was like I wanted to almost at the end of the week have my trades analyzed by like a boss, right? So what I used to call him the boss, right? And
yeah.
before I took every trade, before I did every trade or whatever, I always thought to myself, what would the boss say? What would the boss do? Would the boss
Yeah.
fire me? And I learned this technique from a guy that he used to be a hedge fund floor manager, right?
Mm,
And what he used to do was he'd go up to one of the traders, and he was a bit of a brutal guy. And he'd poke him and he'd go, "You're in whatever trade this is. Tell me why." And if they couldn't tell him what in like 30 seconds, he'd tell them to
yeah.
close the position, pack the
Yeah.
bags for the day, and leave.
Definitely. Yeah.
It would be very, very strict in that moment, right? So I'm not as strict as that guy. I'm not that type of way inclined. But it was a strategy that I thought, can I take that strategy and like think about it and go, okay, well, can I try and maybe think about, oh, is there a boss watching over my shoulder every time I take this position? Because that's the other thing. We're on our own, right? In theory. It's
Yeah.
just us on the screen, right? You might be in a community, you might join Anzo community, you might be in whatever community you're in. You might be in Rich's community, right? Or Nick's community. What, you know what I mean? Like, what is that situation where it's like, I'm on my own here. I need to try and do something to try and help myself, right? These days we've got AI as well, which is super helpful. So like you can put your trades into AI, analyze it for you, which is perfect. But still, try and put that pressure on yourself. I think that's a good technique,
Yeah.
and that's one that I've
Yeah.
used personally that works quite well. Nick, have you had anything that works for you when it comes to trying to reframe that sort of greed mindset?
Yeah. Actually, the one thing that you've said is really good, actually, and that's what I usually do. I usually ask myself, and I usually tell a lot of people that I've trained, if you cannot explain why you took that trade, don't take it. If you
Yeah.
can't explain it, don't just say I took the buys because the candles are green. No.
No, no, no. Yeah.
I mean, I can have yellow and purple candles on my chart. I mean, you can customize the colors. So don't give me the color reason. No, tell me why you took the trade. Explain it. Like, I took this trade because I saw this break of structure. I saw this happen. I saw this and this and this. Even if you're using the candlesticks and you say this is a candlestick pattern that appeared over here and it's a bullish candlestick pattern, that is why I took. I mean, that makes sense. You can actually, and I usually say, if I can't convince myself, I won't take that trade.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can convince people by just speaking some jargons in the market just to confuse people, and I seem like a very learned person. But if I if I can't convince myself, because I know it's my money on the line, so if I can't
Yes.
convince myself, then I probably need not to take that trade. I shouldn't take
Yeah.
that trade. That is what I usually tell myself. So that has been one of the edge that I use a lot to just keep me away from over trading, greed, and all that stuff. I need to justify. There's something that we usually call there's justified trades and unjustified trades,
Mm.
right? So a justified trade is a trade that you actually have a plan for it, follow the plan to the latter, and end up making a profit. That's a justified trade in a way that I can ask you and you can justify it. Then there's an unjustified trade. Unjustified trade sometimes comes in a way that you don't have no plan, you're following nothing, no checklist, no nothing. You just took the order and it went still in profit. So that is what we're calling luck on the other side, but it's unjustified. But you can't run on that road telling yourself that no, I always just pick and trades and they go to profit. I mean,
Yeah.
just because today it went in profit doesn't mean that you're gonna be in profit for the next 5 trades or 11 trades like your guy, the guy that you saw. So in the beginning, I don't know why. I don't know, somehow maybe John, you can tell us your experience in when you started trading. I don't know, probably on the demo. When I started on the demo, the first, I don't know why, the first like 2 trades they usually go in profit. I don't know why. I don't know if there's always a big brother watching you or something. I don't know. The first trade that you take goes in profit. The second one you take somehow in profit, and then you start getting comfortable and you're like, you know what, like they've seen someone talk about it, says like they made some a couple of money and they lost, like, you know what, I'm the guy in this market. And then all of a sudden it
Yeah.
hits you, it slaps you to tomorrow.
I actually have a
Yeah,
funny thing where it's like I swear that every single live account that I've ever started, I
yeah,
always start with a loss.
yeah.
I don't think
Live
I've ever
account.
started. Yeah, I don't think I've ever started with a winning trade ever. Like, and I think that's just
I know, but
it's just going against me.
yeah,
Someone's
yeah.
there watching me. Like, take that trade. Take that trade.
Yeah, you usually say that the broker is always watching you. That is what we usually say. Like, I don't
Yeah,
think the broker is watching me, because anytime I take a buy, it goes sell. And I take a sell, it goes buy. I think that someone is watching me, waiting for me to take an order, and then they go against me or something. So I don't know, but they buy for the demo. I don't know. The demo just keeps on. It's like it has a way to entice you. Just tell you, come in, come in,
yeah,
come in, come in, and then it slaps you,
yeah,
blows the whole account.
yeah.
It's
We've all
interesting.
been there. We've all been there,
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah,
yeah,
so Sarah's actually really kind of like jumped on your thing here about if you can't explain why you're taking a train, don't take it. Exactly. If you can't understand, I mean, I have a whole playbook of different trading setups, different trading things because of what I'm of live trades that I've taken, and I'm always monitoring them. What could I do differently? What could I do better? How did this trade play out? I even monitor trades when I'm looking at sort of after the fact. So even when I'm out the trade, I'll go back a week later, go to that market, see how it's done. Did it go to 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1? Did it not? Did it come back? Did it hit my? Would it have hit my stop loss? Da-da-da.
Yeah.
The important thing is I'm trying to always understand where my edge is and how it can
Yes.
be better. And I'm always trying to understand why I've took the trade so that I can explain to somebody, I can explain to the boss on my left shoulder, you know, what have I done, what am I doing? You know? So yeah, always love that one. We've seen some other messages coming in. Does spread cause that? No. Well, obviously spread is a factor, but no, I just tend to lose my first trade anyway. Whenever I open an account, it's just my thing for you, thing for me. I was reading this at the same time. Thank you, Nick. That was easy truth. Yeah, absolutely. How are we going to get the bonus? Unfortunately, you're going to have to wait to the end. You're an Arsenal fan, so unfortunately, you're going to have to wait to the end there, George. You know, I'm a Villa fan, and apparently, you're taking one of our defenders away from us. So you have to wait, George. Unfortunately, yeah. Unjustified trades turns what? Unjustified trades that turn into profit is just luck. Sorry, I'll try and get my words out.
Yeah. It's just like true.
I'm always profitable when it comes to demo, but on live, it's a different story. This is actually a very common thing, right? This is very, very common. And because your mindset's different, I know when Nick says like, "Oh, when I first started a demo account, I'm profitable." I like, you know, and then it comes later and hits me. It's like, well, yeah, because there's nothing on the line. Right? I always say this.
Yeah,
I actually started trading with a live account straight away. I actually didn't do demo. I went straight live like an idiot, like straight in. And I felt what it meant to lose, right? And that's what it is.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you put in your own capital on the line, you understand what it is to lose. When you're on a demo, you're like, it don't matter. I can reset it. I can do this. I can do another one.
You even forget you have an order.
Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, one of those things that I like to say is if you are going to trade, I actually would say open both demo and live. Now, this is just because this is what I would do if I was to go back. Like, I would open both demo and live. And if I was, let's say, trying to test a strategy, I would use the demo account, right? If I found something new, I'd use the demo account. On my live account, I'd just try and stick to one thing, and I'd do it at a very, very low risk. Very, like, I'm talking like pennies on the dollar, right? I'm talking really sort of cheap, so that I can just get a feel of what it feels like, because it doesn't matter how much the money is. Nobody likes losing. We're wired that way.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose, right? We just want to, like, in life, we want to win. We want to do well. We want to do these things. Problem is, losing is part and parcel of trading. And unfortunately, it will happen. It's just how well you lose is the aim of the game. So let's go through a couple of systematic tools that we can use to eliminate this. So when I just said about losing well, one of these things is having a capped risk rule set, right? Again, you would be amazed at the amount of traders that I see that come through that still don't use a stop loss, right?
Yeah.
And they still don't use rules in place for risk. So one thing I would say is learn how to calculate risk first. One of the biggest things that you can do, because once you understand that, you know whereabouts you could start playing with your trades. And again, demo account is perfect for this. Even if you open a demo with the same amount of capital that you're thinking of doing live, just so you can get that feeling for what you're doing, that's the perfect way to go about it, right?
Yeah.
Nick, as well, high efficiency trading windows. I know that you like to trade around market opens. You like trading big events like NFP and things like that.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
And stuff, yeah. Yeah, the high efficient trading windows. I mean, for me, I don't know if it's the avoiding the point that we spoke about, the boredom and impatience. I don't know. I just like when the market is moving. It's super volatile at that point. It's quite easy at that time to locate your trade and get into it. But then again, it's also quite easy to it's actually one of the fastest way to lose your money as well at the same point. So, but,
Yeah.
but again, you have a good when you have a good structure observation of the structure and a good analysis. Yeah, the high effective trading windows are quite really nice. Those are during the peak liquidity times. Let's say the London Open, New York Open. You know, when I started trading, I actually started trading the London Open. I
Yeah.
used only to trade only the GBP USD or during, and I used to just set the buy stop and sell stop, and I wait for the open, the opening candle. The first side it goes, I'm in 10 pips and I'm out. And I started that is basically what I used to do. I just used to do the London breakout.
Hey, it's not,
But
it's not a bad strategy, mate. It's not a bad strategy. I quite like it. You know, I use a little bit of opening range, breakouts, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
When it comes to cable, so yeah, absolutely. I
yeah.
love this. Sorry, I just love this comment. I had to just throw it in there. I'm in one unjustified trade right now.
Oh
just-
man,
It just made me laugh
convince
like I
yourself?
had to.
I'm gonna ask him, can you convince yourself why you're in that
Yeah,
trade?
Destiny, you're in an unjustified trade, and then you said, "How can one call himself a trader if he doesn't know risk management?" Yeah, that's true, but you can't come out here taking unjustified trades at the same time.
Yeah.
You're better than that. You know your risk management. Julius says, John and Nick, what strategy do you use? What's the biggest cumulative loss? Oh, there's a lot in this one. And how long did it take for you to become profitable?
Ooh.
Great questions. The strategy that I use now is a blend of sort of trend-based strategies with sort of market profile and initial balance areas. So I use like auction market theory and things like that. That's kind of like my strategy. But my big thing is what I call the WCS method, which is why is the market doing something, what conditions it needs to be in, and then apply the strategy after that. So for my trading strategy in particular, you know, that's part of it. But I have to make sure that there are good conditions and there have to be like a why behind it. So I've been very dollar bearish since kind of like the start of July, well, end of July sort of time, because of what we've been seeing in the macro data. Then the conditions started to line up with certain pairs. So then I've been trying to trade those pairs with my trading strategy, right? In terms of like risk and risk management, it's always based off of volatility. So, you know, if there is high volatility days, I'm going to be using lower risk. If there's low volatility days, I'm using like 1% risk, or I break it down into 3 trades and use my risk appropriately with that. Nick, how, I mean, I haven't gone over my biggest cumulative loss there, but I'd say actually about 3 to 4 grand, I think, was my biggest loss in one trade. But that was when I was first starting out. So I had a 10 grand account. So that was big. That was like nearly half the account gone trading soybeans.
Ooh.
So yeah, that was, I have never traded soybeans ever again. So put it that way. Ever.
Yeah.
How long did it take you? Yeah. How long did it take you to become profitable? I'd say it took me around about 3 years. Around about 3 years. I was kind of, it's going to sound really, really stupid. I was kind of always profitable. So my first year, I made 33%. Second year, I made like 45, 50%. And then my third year, I was around about 30% again. But like, so I've actually been very fortunate that I've kind of always been profitable, but I have had situations where I've like, you know, blown an account. But on the year, I've always kind of ended up in a good situation. But yeah, kind of, I would say I felt like I was profitable after 3 years. I was like, right, okay, I've had 3, you know, decent years. I'm going to do this. Because my first couple of trading years, I was very systematic. Like I would be waiting for the A+ setup all the time. Then after my third year, I got a bit stupid. I got a bit reckless. I was like, I'm a genius. I can do this. I'm going to start testing other stuff.
Yeah.
And I went into the pits a little bit and wasn't very good again. And then came out the other side. So yeah, that was kind of my journey. Nick, what was your journey? I'd love to know how long it took you to be profitable, and also your your biggest cumulative loss. I think the guys, if the guys are familiar or not familiar, you can watch the market brief every morning to see Nick's strategy live.
Yeah. Market brief. It happens every morning at 10 a.m. Kenyan time. Well, I think we kind of have similar thing. I was actually listening to you. And I'm like, okay, that was me. That was me. Because if or in terms of the strategy, basically what I do is just price action. So for me, I would be just looking at the potential areas where the market we could get some breakout trades happening. Identify areas of support and resistance, all the way from monthly. Just have a multi-time frame analysis breakdown, all the way from monthly coming down, weekly, daily, 4 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Around 30 minutes, 15 minutes, that's where I'm gonna be looking for my entry. Because again, I'm a day trader, just like to be done by the end of the day. I'm done and I can have some good night's sleep.
Nice.
I really tried to sleep with an open trade and I couldn't sleep, so I thought I'm not gonna torture myself anymore. Let me just be done in a day, wash my hands, sleep well. Tomorrow I wake up, it's another day. Instead of fresh start.
That's fair.
The biggest cumulative loss around 3,000 as well. Around 3,000, yes, around $3,000. And it also took me like 3 years to say that I'm profitable. Before the 3 years, at least your journey was a bit better. Before 3 years, I was really struggling to just even break even, just break even. I was really struggling to just break even. But it's because I didn't use most of the. I was in the mentality of I just need to break even. I just need to make profit. But I wasn't concentrating on where am I losing. No, the whole analogy that I usually give is when you have a tank which is you're trying to put in water in a tank, and the tank has a hole at the bottom. You have either two choices. Either choice one is either you add the intake or the water that is coming in to get in to have a bigger intake, or you can choose to just concentrate on the hole, close the hole, and the tank will be full with the same intake, that is with the same. I got myself unable to decide what I want to do, and I went a lot on adding more trades instead of working on the where I'm losing.
Yeah.
But in the third year, that's when I started concentrating on risk management. I really became a student of risk management, started concentrating on what should I do to stop the bleeding so that I can build my account. And I realized that is working well for me, because the moment I started journaling down, writing down, and knowing this is what I'm losing, this is why I'm losing, this is where I did wrong, and I started focusing a lot on the losing trades than the winning trades.
Nice. Love that.
So I started focusing a lot on the losing trades. Have I lost today? Yes. Why did I lose this trade? I go deeper in it. I do a review on it. Why did I lose? Oh, okay. I didn't observe there was a fundamental news coming out. I wasn't privy of it. That's why I lost. So you start keeping in. I know we're gonna be talking about a trading journal, and actually it's coming next. But that's basically one of the things that really helped me improve my trading strategy and learn from my own mistakes. All right.
Perfect. I love that so much.
And just to mention, it's a funny fact. The first amount of money that I funded in my account was $500, and I had borrowed it.
Really?
And I borrowed it.
Wow.
The guy that introduced me to Forex actually told me that all you need to do is to fund in, then press buy and sell, and you're gonna make money. So that's what I did. I called another friend of mine. I was like, "Hey, I need $500 from you. I'm gonna return it by the end of the week." And the guy gave me $500, and I funded.
Well, that's a very trusting guy.
Yeah, I started pressing buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. The funny thing is, I made profit. Actually, I started making Monday, I made profit. Tuesday, profit. Wednesday, I was good. Thursday until Friday, I was okay. I was actually up $1,200 from $500. I was up $700. And I told myself on Saturday, because the broker that I was using was actually offering crypto. So I told myself on a Saturday, I'm just resting at the house, and I told myself, you know what? Let me check what's happening in the market.
Let me
Just
get that.
looking at BTC USD, and I found it dropping. It was the time that it was melting, just going a huge candle. It looks like it's about to pierce below your phone, just going down. And some just told me taking a sell and level up the account to $1,500, and then you can give back the $500, and you'll be left with $1,000. So I got into the sales, and immediately I got into the sales. It's like my order was the support level. I just got into it, and the whole chart went up, and it went up crazily. It's the time that it moved. I think it moved all the way from 6,000 at that time, BTC USD, 6,000 to around 15,000 or something.
Wow.
I blew the account while I was looking like this. Nobody had told me that you can lose money. So I was seeing just red. The numbers are going lower and lower and lower. And then all of a sudden I'm 000. I'm asking myself, okay, what happened? What happened to me? I didn't know anything.
Way. What did the
It was
guy
crazy.
think?
No, the guy. Now the biggest challenge was trying to explain to this guy that I lost money in thin air. I don't even understand myself. How am I going to explain to this guy? I don't even understand where my money went. So how am I going to explain to someone that you gave me money and I lost it? Where did I lose it? I didn't send it. I didn't buy anything. I didn't send it to anyone. It just disappeared from an account. It was the hardest part of my life to ever explain to someone that I lost money. Money just disappeared. It was one of the hardest.
It's a tough game trading for other people. I tell you that. I have done it. I have not been successful at it. I must admit. It's a whole thing. If you think trading your own capital is an emotional thing, wait till you get someone else's. Wait till you try and trade for someone else.
And especially someone who doesn't know how to trade. Especially someone who doesn't know how to trade.
Because they expect a lot. I'm just going to say that. I'm just going to put it there. Say they expect a lot. I've had experience in it. I've had not very good experiences of it. So it was difficult for me. But thank you for sharing that, Nick. That's a really interesting story, to be honest. That you borrowed your first phone. That is amazing. That is wild. I love it. So let's move on then, because I think we've kind of covered a lot of these in what we've been talking about anyway. But this is something that Nick was kind of talking about as well, was having that pre-trade checklist, having that psychological trade login. And this is something you don't even have to make this a big deal, right? I know a lot of people find it difficult to kind of keep up with this thing. I'm gonna see actually. I wanted to see if I could bring up my old. This is an old version of my playbook. I just realised my camera might die, so it might go off. I might have to upload another camera here in a second. But let me see if I go into the Google Drive here. I want to see if I can show you what my old playbook version. I call it the version 1 playbook because I've got a version 2 now. But this is the one that I'll show you guys. Let's see. So this is like my journal, right? This was my trading journal from what I first started. And your trading journal doesn't have to be like anything crazy, right? It can just be something, something very, very simple, right? So this is the version 1, setups to look for, trading journal, targets and goals, right? So this is what I was doing. This is auction market theory. This is market profile, things like that. It's just a type of trading, right? So this is how I used to trade, right? This was using volume, market profile, and things like that. So ignore the kind of stuff because I don't trade with volume much these days in terms of like looking at absorption and stuff. This was when I was really like, day trading. But I would first of all, I would go and find the setups first, right? And I'd go and look at past trades that I hadn't even taken. This was just me observing the market, right? And I'd just take a picture of it, put my thoughts on this example, right? Price tested this, footprint did this, whatever. This obviously could be completely different. It could be a screenshot of, like my trading chart here. It could be a screenshot here. Price came up into this level. it did this, whatever. And then I would just note down what happened after the fact and then looked at more examples. This is the example of what happened here, blah, 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 blah. So what happened was then I'd go into my live trades. So this was when I was sort of live trading Euro futures, right? So here you can see my screen over here. I've got the CFD up. And what I would do is look for, price opens up within a value area. Usually if price does that, it stays within value. So I was looking to trade from one side of value to the other side of value, right? So from the point of control to the low. So that's what I did here. I'd take a trade from that level down, and then I'd take a screenshot after and just go, took profit. See, even if I was like, I took profits early on this, didn't leave a runner, which would have banked me more money. I'm just making commentary on different things that I've done and what I, could have done, right? And this is just all it needs to be in terms of like, a trading journal. It's just trying to find those kind of little things, right? And I've got like obviously loads of examples, and I'd give them like names, like type 1 setup, type 2 setup, whatever. And I'd go through all of these different things. So this is something that you can apply to your own trading as well. Is having like a version of a journal which logs the trade that you're taking, and then also logs your psychology behind it. So that was me going, I did this because of this. I did this because of that. This is how I did the trade. Da, 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 da. So that's a good way of how you can do this. Obviously, as well, you can have a pre-trade checklist, and obviously Nick says he does this as well. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on your pre-trade checklist, Nick. But this is something that can help you kind of just get aligned with your plan of the day, right?
Yeah. So basically on my pre-trade checklist, what I usually do is there are things that I've logged in that this is what I want to see on the chart before I even consider getting into this trade. I want to see probably, let's say for example, I said my strategy is quite simple. I'm just looking for support and resistance. A trade is going to be a trade that breaks above, let's say, a resistance level. So on my checklist, number one is I want to see the candle break above. Not only to break above, but I want to see the whole body breaks above and closes above, not just the wick. If it's the wick, then I won't go into that, because that could be an easy rejection. If it's the body closing above, then that's a good confirmation for me that the market is going to continue, because the next candle is going to open where this candle closes. So if it breaks above, then it means it's already past the level that was consolidating probably, and now we are going for an impulse move. So what I need to wait is to look for is the next candle, probably the next 15 or 30 minutes candle, just to retrace back. So I usually call it BRE. Break, retest, enter. So I'm going to wait for a break, then I'm going to wait for a retest, and then from that time, once the retest, and just to make sure the retest doesn't go back to the area that I was avoiding to trade, I want the retest to test, go back to the same area, tap on the resistance that is now a support, and get rejected, so that now we can continue going up. So just call it BRE, break, retest, enter. That's basically what I'm. Yep. Of course, the other checklist you're gonna need to look on the fundamental side. Just observe, make sure that you know the economic events that are coming in. You don't want to be caught in the market. So sometimes high moves comes in, and especially if Trump is speaking. Speaking about that, this Trump is gonna make a speech today, right? At 9:30.
And we got FOMC meeting minutes coming up in about 20 minutes.
Trump. Yeah, he just has to speak after FOMC. That's gonna explode the market. So, yeah.
But no, I love that. That's exactly. I've just put like a simple thing here as well, which is something that people can do, which is very much exactly aligned with what you're talking about here. It's kind of like your pre-market preparation, review the economic calendar, even if it's just to glance at it to see what the big events are. just make sure that you're aware that when you're about to take a trade, there could be some high impact news coming that could really impact what happens to your trade. It might provide the volatility that you need. It might not. It might be something where it wicks you out first and then goes in your direction of your trade, right? Which can happen too. But it's really important that you understand that economics drives these markets. So you need to understand where the high volatility news is. Marking out those technical levels like Nick does every single morning on the market brief, goes over those technical levels on gold, euro, dollar, and other markets too, just to kind of highlight those key areas that you need to be looking for the day ahead. This gives you a framework. Like, for me, I use market profile. So I say, has price opened up in value today? Is it above value? Where is other value found? Sitting on your hands, recognizing that patience is an active position, right? No setup equals zero trading activity. This is one that you're going to have to get used to.
Oof,
just try and be patient. It's really not. It's really not. Trying to think about, not being active is what I said earlier. It's a very difficult thing. You think you've got to be more active to make more money. That's not how trading works. It's sometimes you can do less and make more. And sometimes not trading, at least you don't have a position in the market. When Nick was talking about break even, I actually think break even traders are great traders. They just need to have that little bit more to get over the line, right? And they're already in a good position, because if you break even, that is good. There's a lot of funds out there that lose money every year, so you're ahead of them. And then the end of day review, reviewing, winning and losing trades objectively reinforce that position. That's exactly what the journal's for. No matter how you do it, make some notes of what's happened in your trading day. These days, you can do it really quickly. You can take a screenshot of it, put it into ChatGPT, give you a review or whatever, right? There's lots of different ways that you can do it these days, right? So little quote as well before we go into a little bit of a Q&A session. But this is something that our good friend Claude has come up with, which is the market doesn't force you to break your rules. It simply exposes the rules you haven't truly internalized. Right. So Q&As, the floor is open to you guys. We've actually had loads of questions there. I really appreciate you guys coming through. If you have enjoyed this webinar so far, leave it a like, subscribe to both channels if you aren't subscribed already. And yeah, I would love to hear and go through some of the questions. There are some questions that we did miss. One was here. I don't know what this is. And is there, by any case, you can predict your trade? Maybe this is going to be a loss or it's going to be a profit. There are ways to do this. One thing that I like to do, so I always kind of reflect on a little bit of what I did last year. So I had 10 losing trades in a row last year, but the loss equivalent on my account was less than 1%.
Yeah,
and that was because I cut my trades early when I knew the condition had changed. So one thing I ask myself is, whenever I'm in a trade and like the market's like moved in a particular direction or something's happened, I go, has anything changed? I always ask myself this question. If the answer is no, I stay in the trade. If the answer is yes, I cut it. It doesn't matter where I am in terms of profit or loss. If something has changed, the likelihood of the probability of that trade isn't going to work out. If anything, the longer you're in a trade, the more information you get, right? Because you're in the position, there's more data coming in, there's more candlesticks coming in on the chart. You've got more data to work with. And as traders, that is invaluable. Question for you, Nick. I like this one. Strategy hopping. Have you been involved in any strategy hopping? How have you overcome that?
Yeah. Definitely. In the beginning, yeah. In the beginning, I think I tried almost like 10 strategies before I settled on one. I would just, they see the point of social media, the social media buzz, that you're looking at what people are doing and you're seeing someone posting crazy. Like today, I saw someone posting crazy amount of profits. Like they had put a lot of trades in to the point that you couldn't even see the background of the chart. I mean, it was just lines, 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 lines for cells, like a whole belt. And I would, in the beginning, I was looking at people do, when I see someone is posting profit and I want to see what strategy are they using. Then when I see the strategy, I want to do that tomorrow. Then I try tomorrow and I lose, and I go and look at someone else, and they say, okay, you know what? Moving average is the strategy that is the killer strategy. And I'm like, okay, let's do moving average then. So yeah, I did I did that a lot. I did a lot of hoping until I realized you just have to be you. You just have to
Yeah.
learn what works for you, because what works for me may not work for you.
No.
And that doesn't mean that you're a bad trader or I'm a bad trader. No. That's why we can all use different strategies, but then at the end of it all of us make profit in a day, But different approach, same outcome. So you just need
Love
to
it.
find what is it that works for you, what do you understand, and what works well for you. Build on that, and you'll be good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's how you overcome it. Just find your niche.
Yeah.
Find what works for
100%.
you.
100%. I think what it is as well, it's what makes most sense to you as well. Like
Yeah.
what you understand easier. And like if you could understand it, then you're confident to use it. You're
Yeah.
confident to explain it. You're confident to use it and talk about it. So I would always say as well, think about what is easy to you and stick with that. George asked a good question. Can I trade from my phone? Absolutely. You can trade for your phone. You can download the MetaTrader 5 app or the MT4 app on your phone, and you can trade through your phone. John, please leave the PDF. It will help check somewhere want to improve. Yeah, we have some PDF guides that are more than available to you. You leave a comment down below, I can send you those. Or yeah, especially if you have like an email in your YouTube channel, we can get those over to you, no problem. When there is a resistance break, I think you must have a condition to enter the trade after a retest. Nick, yeah, absolutely. This is the whole idea: is having a plan of your trade before you get into it. Josh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've really learned a lot from you. Thank you, Nick and John. Appreciate that. How much needed to start successfully trading? Well, that depends on what success is to you, right? Is it an extra $50 a week, $50 a month? Is it $100 a month? Is it $1,000 a month, right? Success means a lot of things to different people. So think about what would change your life now, and then think about, how do I get 1% of that in a trade or whatever? Then try and think about how much to start with to be successful. But also, sometimes just getting started can help. Even if you use a very small amount and try and trade very, very small amounts, at least you can try and get over that emotional side of it as you're going through. Nick, how much would you say?
Yeah, I think that varies with the person, as well as your risk appetite. How much can you be able to put in? And there's something that I usually say, before you even start trading, ask yourself, can you even afford to trade? Like, and what the risk that you're taking, is it okay with you, or will it take you back home? You just have
That's
to
very true.
say that. But there's really no fixed number that you should start with, because again, if it comes to maybe even the minimum funding amount, you can fund all the way from $10 all the way. It depends. Well, does it work for you? You can fund $1,000. You can fund $10,000. It's up to you. But I think if you observe it, I think that's not really the major thing. I think the major thing is actually, do you know what you're doing? Once you know what you're doing, even with $50, you can still grow your account with patience, slowly, targeting maybe, like, even if it's 5% or 10% a day, slowly, and grow your account.
Yeah, Nancy says this really well. Never tried with what you aren't comfortable losing. 100%.
Yep.
This is an interesting one, Nick. What's your take on signals? Is it sustainable in the long term?
Tell you
Depends
what,
who you're following.
I took signals when I started,
Yep.
same as this guy, and before that, I was trading on my own and I was making some progress. Then I decided, you know what? Why keep on stressing myself while I can just take some signals from a Telegram channel? And when I went to Telegram channel, I blew my account. So I don't know.
Do you know,
Am I
I have,
answering the question?
yeah, yeah. You
You
know
know
what?
why?
I mean,
You know,
okay.
I did a diagnosis on this and I realized that you first of all need even to understand what is the trading strategy of this guy and what type of a trader is the guy is, because I realized after I learned a lot after a couple of years, and that's when I realized why I blew my account is because I am a day trader and the guy that was giving us the signal was a scalper. So he would say buy euro USD now. By the time I'm seeing that, I'm getting to the market probably like 3 minutes later. I'm getting into euro USD now, and by the time mine is starting to get into profit, I see him on the group saying Euro USD hit take profit one. I'm like, okay, hold up. Are we trading the same Euro USD? Because
Yeah,
mine is already it's now starting to get into
yeah.
profit. Yours is already in take profit. So
It's a very good
by the
point.
time but yeah, by the time I'm trying to break even to even start counting plus $1 profit, him is sending those emojis of the fire emojis and all the one
The
smiling with
dollar
money,
eyes.
yeah, the dollar highs and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, hold up, what's happening?
Love it.
You
I love
know,
it.
and that's how I ended up blowing my account, because I didn't even know there was something like we could be different type of traders. I didn't know that. So learning is very important at the end of the day. You're gonna need to learn, because once you learn, I usually say start by learning, then remove the L and start earning. That's gonna come after you learn, because you cannot you cannot avoid the learning phase. The learning phase is very important. After I blew my first account, I went down with the learning phase and I started learning risk management, started learning, understanding the different types of traders. This is the main trading systems that are there. Understood being a day trader, what am I supposed to look at? Where am I picking my trades? What the charts that works for a day trader? Stuff like that.